Hello and welcome to Conquering Mount Scrapmore with Brenda. I'm Brenda, and we're here today with the next installment of the Psychedelic Snowflake Sew-Along for January 1, 2024. Now you're going to find the PDF for this pattern in the show notes below. So if you see a See More button or you swipe down or whatever, that's where it's all going to be. Also in those show notes, you're going to find a dear friend of mine, and her name is Marie from Marie Scrappy Creations. Now, her and I have been good buds on YouTube for a while, and I just can't believe how lovely, and she's having so much fun over on her channel. So when you go into the show notes, go check her out too. And if you haven't subscribed, please do, and tell her that Brenda from Conquering Mount Scrapmore sent you, because she just does some lovely things over there. Now, the other thing you're going to find in that show notes is we have a Facebook group. So if you're part of the Facebook social media community, please come join us over there. The group is growing very quickly. We share pictures, we ask questions, we get help from other members, and we have virtual sewing rooms still. And we also have a different fabric swaps and different chats on different topics, and everybody's getting to know each other really well. It's just been a wonderful growing community. So if you have a chance, go over there. Now the other thing as well is your Zoom sew dates. Now the Zoom sew dates will be listed there from January to December 2024, because we're having way too much fun with those Zoom sew dates. So, and they're a wonderful community of ladies from all over that are coming to those sew dates. And if you have time on a sew date and you want to come, but you don't have a sewing project and you want to bring your knitting or crocheting, that's fine too. Share, like, and subscribe. Tell your quilting gals I speak for free over Zoom only, and I do not have a trunk show anymore. I've given it all away to family, friends, and charity. So I do have pictures of quilts to share with you over a PowerPoint presentation over Zoom. So come on in, let's get to the sewing. Okay, we're at the sewing machine, and this looks like a lot of stuff that you need for what we're doing. First off, you need some paper scissors. Now, I always mark my paper scissors with a little bit of tape, so, you know, it's there. Now, I've already cut mine out. This is my thread scissor, and it says you got to make 6 of these. Well, I'm not going to make you watch me sew all 6 of them. So I'm just going to sew a 1 and just use it as a sample. Now, what I did is I set this up just a certain way. Now I've got all my stuff. And I've already done my little trick with the stitching lines. And I'm hoping you can see that. So you can see it from the back, right? Well, that's there. Yeah, you always need one of these because you never know when you're going to use it. And yesterday when I was sewing up the sample that I'm going to show you near the end, I needed to use this. Of course, we can never get it recorded. And the Mope pens I use to mark here as to what colors I'm putting where. Now, you want to have some symmetry in these blocks. So on Unit A, 5 and 4 are the same color, and so are 8 and 9, right? Now in Unit B matches up with Unit C, 11 and 1. And then the oranges, what I'm going to put as orange, is from Unit B3 and C9, right? Are there. Those two are together. The 2 purples are here, and that's, what is it, 4 and 5? And this one has a black center. So like it creates a little black star in the middle. So 6 and 7 are black. So that's probably the most confusing part of this. So I've already cut out some stuff ahead of time. Oh yeah, tape. Tape is your friend in this, because whenever you're doing foundation paper piecing, if you have to take out stitches, what happens is you can always tape the paper back together again, right? So tape's always a good thing to have kicking around close at hand. So now I would do all 6 at once, right? I mean, if you can only concentrate on 1 at a time, that's fine. That, it's whatever's making you happy, right? So let's just start running some of this stuff through. So what I've done is red is in the middle. Now I have a directional fabric that I'm going to use. So I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to make sure I have good coverage top and bottom, right? Because I know I'm pretty much good coverage side to side. And I want to make, if I'm using any kind of directional fabric, I would want all 6 of them to be the same. But that's me because I'm fussy, I guess. So I'm just going to put a pin there for now, just to keep it all in the right space. Now, there. What I would do then is I would fold 2 and 3 out of the way. Now, my husband said, "Oh, you forgot your add-a-quarter ruler at home. Do you need us to order one?" I said, "No, I've got rulers." And all I'm going to do is line that right up against that 1/4 inch line here. Just make sure I got good, so you can see what I'm doing. Just like that. And pull that out. And then do 3. I might as well, because this section A is very symmetrical. So I might as well get them both done at once. And I'm just laying it down. Like, you can take any ruler. I prefer a fine marked ruler. So, I mean, and I got this one at Quilter's Market here in Tucson. So I have used that one quite a bit. Now, the other thing is I have a whole bunch of these kind of pieces that I got, and I can use them as, you know, my black pieces. So I have little scraps of black triangles. Oops, I'm on the wrong foot. Oh, well, that's fine. It's always good to be able to change your feet. There, let me take all this stuff out. Get that out. There we go. I'm going to leave that one out because I'm going to need it right away. Okay. Yeah, you guys are always watching me change feet. I never start a video with the right foot. It seems like some days. But anyways, yeah. Okay, so let's get this going here. See if it works. You want your stitches set pretty high. So all I'm using is this scrap, and it's basically a crumb, right? This black crumb. So if it goes, it goes. All of it would go. So, and I have good coverage on it, so I'm good to go off to the races. Okay, let's work on the next piece here, which is I'm going to pick unit B. And what I'm going to do, okay, I want unit B to lay this way on the piece, right? So I've got good coverage all the way to the top, and I just want to pull it down just a hair because I need this corner, right? So I pin into the work like so, and then pull this back and do that cut. Now I'm not worrying about anything else other than my first cut. And again, I'm going to use a little scrap of black, right? Go right across, and it'll cover good on both sides because I've got overhang on both sides. So I'm just going to run that next. And this one, and this one. Okay, so I want a teal. No, do I want teal? Yes, I want teal. Oh, this is mixed up. Okay, so I want teal to be here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to lay it out. Now, this looks so huge for what I really do need, but it was one of those pieces where, well, it's a piece that will fit. So, you know, you just take it and you run with it, right? I would consider a crumb. So once I start cutting into a crumb and it's not big enough for anything else, it goes into pet bed. So that's fine. So I'm going to cut 2 and 3 at the same time, just so I know where I am on this piece. There. Okay. 2 and 3 get cut just like so. All right. Well, let's do 2 first. And again, I can pull from my little, I had these donated. And she was doing the most beautiful African print and blacks. It was just stunning. The scraps I got from my friend. So anyway, so I'm just going to go 1/4 inch past that point and hold on to it and let the needle go up and down a bit to kind of lock it in place. Okay, so now we go to the next one. And I just push this out of the way, just like so. Now I want a bigger piece. Let's get a bigger piece. Yeah, these are really nice to have because I don't have to cut into any of my black yardage and I get to use up more scrap. So that's good. I'm happy. Okay. Now this one I have to trim. So what I do is, and I pull now from the other side of that line and push it forward just like so and trim off that 1/4. There we go. And now I'm going to put orange on because this was just a huge piece of orange that came in strips like this, but I had enough to make my sample block and this one I'm demonstrating the demo. Okay, so right through, yes we do, and there. Now, so we have to put on number 3, which is another black piece. So I'm just going to trim this just to get everything squared away. Okay, so I want to put, okay. Now let's get that 3. So 3 is right here. And I'm going to trim this so that 3 will lie nice. So I just have to go like that. I don't even need a ruler for that little piece. And I'm going to get a nice bigger chunk. Let's see. There. Bigger chunk. Right, this, because I want this to go all the way past this seam allowance, right? This seam allowance has to be covered. So when I'm looking at placing, the seam allowance area has to be covered. That is going to be on. Okay, so then I just, okay, pop this up, pull through. Now, here. There. And now we're back to this piece. So I've sewn on both sides now, so I can pull my pin out and be pretty confident that I'm not gonna, hit anything or, have any issues with it. So well, we just get this lined up. And what some people do too is they just trim it roughly more than a 1/4, and they don't have to have, they just trim it with their scissors. And I've seen people do it that way, and it works great. Like, I mean, there's no issue. So I'm going to get 2 blues. Now, with this print, I have to decide, do I want more blue or do I want more swirly bits? So I'm going to go with more blue because this is such a tiny area to cover. I should go the other way. So I want to put the tiny area to cover, right? So you want more color than swirl. All right, oops. Goes back up there. And now we sew on the other side of that line. Okay. And now, okay. There we go. So this one, the last one you put on is a piece of black. And what I do, oops, is I get this. They don't look like anything until you cut them. It looks kind of weird until you cut them, trim them anyways. So what I do is I try and loosen this there. And because that now is falling apart. Yep, that looks good. So now I just line this up and give it a trim. This is all pet bed. Now when I'm pushing this back, looks like it's falling apart already. So I would take my tape and just give it a little tape across. That's all I'm doing, right? Just, it's not there for anything other than to keep the line straight. Okay, so now I need a bigger piece, and I'm going to pick this piece and get all the strings off of it. Okay, oh yeah, there's salvage there. Now all I want to do is make sure I cover this point and this point, so I can just run it through. There we go. And now that piece is finished except for the trimming. Okay, so now I pull the pin on this and get this up. And now I start adding purple. There. So my next piece, according to this, is going to be 4, and that's purple. So I have a really big piece of purple that I might not need all of it, but I'm just going to run it across like so. And I probably only need about half of that. So I'll trim off some now. Okay, there we go. Okay, up and under. Oops. Make sure nothing flips on you, because that would be bad. Okay. Now we're getting the other blue side done. And because I wanted more blue, I'm going to put my fabric this way, just like that. This is not hard. You need to be organized, right? That's the hardest part about this. Now I have all 4 pieces sewn on here, so I would take this to the ironing table or the ironing board and give it a good press. And I think what we do is I'll come back and we'll trim it all, give it a good press, and then I'll show you how to assemble those. But you don't need to be wasting your time watching me trim. So now the next piece is 5, and it says purple, so that's fine. We'll just get all of this extra thread off. Okay, so now I'm just finger pressing it, and I need a bigger piece of purple, so I'm just going to bend all that out of the way. And there we go. And get all that. Okay. So what you're going to do now is lay this across. Oh, we don't miss. We get little. This purple has just a cute little sheen to it. Now I'm going to move it this way a little bit. Okay. Right across, and so now we put another little piece of black. Like I say, this comes together very quick. These come together quickly. And I'll trim both sides just because I can. I might as well. I've got it on my board. I've got the ruler in my hand, you know. Okay, now let's get the black on there. And again, I can use, you know, a little black triangle. The only time I really need my strips is when I'm doing a longer piece in here. Okay, here we go, up. Okay, and now 613 is black, or I'll just finish off the black. So 613 is black, and I don't need a big piece. I can use a little piece. I just have to make sure it gets centered on where that needs to be. Okay. There we go. sometimes the best part of this is looking for all the little pieces. But now see, this is stuff that's the kind of stuff I would keep hanging around for. I do the Bonnie Hunter Crazy Pineapple, and if you haven't done that, that is just such a cool pattern to do. It uses up all sorts of little pieces like this. It's just wonderful. Now I've got good coverage on the black for number 6. Okay, now I'm just going to, get this out of the way, and I'm losing my edge on my paper, so I've got my tape back out. Okay, and I'm just going to tighten up that edge a bit. There we go. There. Now, do I have a bigger piece than this? Yes, I do. It's right here. I have a huge piece, so that's the piece I'm going to use. And I'm just lining this up so it covers this, and it's going to be big enough to fold over and cover the corner, right? So, and oh, we are so close to being done. Okay, now. There we go. Do the other side, because you might as well. Everything's already set up for cutting. There. Now, it doesn't matter which yellow one you sew on first, but you want to just center the yellow to make sure you have enough coverage for here, right? You flip it around. Yeah. Okay, so this is done. Now let's get to the other side of this teal. Now, all of this is done, so the next piece here is this one right here. Now this is where you start having, you know, you're crossing over all sorts of lines. There we go, get that down. And this is a little tough to pull sometimes. So you want to make sure you grab the paper and just only pull the string away, or the thread away, right? Just like that. And you might want to add a little tape because there's a bunch of intersections right in there. Okay, so now I'm going to trim this to 1/4 inch, and we're going to put a little piece of black on there. And this will fit. Yes, it will. Line it up. I'm gonna end up using all my little black bits here. Okay. Okay, and get that out of the way. There we go. And the last yellow goes on, and we're done. Well, we got to put a long black piece on. Oh no, we don't put a black piece on. Sorry. This one now is done. This piece here has got all the pieces on it that it needs. Okay. Now these are actually fun to make. So anyways, Charlie, my grandson, he wanted his quilt back because we had it a really long time. And I said, okay, so we no longer have it to show as a backdrop. So anyways, the orange goes on next because that's what it says. So yeah, we no longer have that one as a backdrop. So I thought I'd let everybody know that because he wanted his baby quilt back. He loves it very much. And just a 1/4 inch pass, then hold it so that, there we go. And pull the fabric here. Now, again, I'm going to give this thing a really good press, then trim it, and then come back and show you how to put all of that together. And Now this machine down here sounds quite a bit different than the sewing machine we have in Canada, I find. And we've oiled it and everything, so, and it's just, I am so glad it stays here. It lives in the South. It does not travel to Canada back and forth with me. It just lives here all year round. And I thought, well, maybe it's a little dry, and apparently it is not dry. It just, that's the way it sounds. So this piece here is really big, this orange. So I would keep that one for other uses. Okay, and wow, that piece is really falling apart. Hang on, let's get back to taping this together. There. All right, now next piece is a black, and I can pull from here again. Oh, look, I've even got a piece that's absolutely big enough. Okay, so let's line this up. There we go. A little big, but that's okay. Yeah, if you're sewing on black to the piece, you're sewing on the inside. And if you're sewing on a color, you're sewing on the outside. That's the way it's easiest for me to keep track of what I'm doing, you know. But like I say, I would do all 6 of these units and then do all 6 of the next units, and then, you know, because then it's just easier for me to do it that way. But, you know, everybody has, if that does not make sense to you, do it the way it would make sense to you. Right? And the last piece to go on is green. Well, there's another black piece, but for now. Now the green, you kind of have to lay it so, now, you want to lay it to get that line, the seam allowance covered, but you also need to lay it so this gets covered, right? So that area there gets covered, and I think we are there. Maybe down a bit, just a hair. Okay. And now we put the really long black piece on. Now see, it doesn't quite cover, but there's a black piece that goes along there, right along this bottom. So it kind of angles up, but that's okay. That's okay. I've got enough there to cover, so that's good. Now, we're just going to put the last piece on, and I need a bit longer piece, and I think that one will fit. Yes, it will. Okay. All right. Of course, it's all falling apart now. Again with the tape. Okay. Just so you keep that nice straight line. I'm going to put it this way here. Okay, so now I get this out of the way. I can pull that all out of the way. Get my last cut to trim off all of this. Okay, oops. Needs to go that way. Here we go. And now I lay this down the longest way. Here we go. And we have good coverage on the black, so we're good. So now with this, I'm going to take them and I'm going to press them and I'm going to trim them, and then I'll come back and show you how to put all 3 of them together. Okay, now that they're all trimmed, they look like something, right? But let's sew these together. So what I do, they're going to sew together like this first, right? You put the A and the B unit together first, and I needle match my points on this. you know, you can, and you just want to make sure that that needle goes right in the tip of that point, and then you swing this around, and you want the other needle, the finer the needle, the easier it is to pin all this stuff, to go in this point right here. There, it's not the point at the end, it's the point where it starts to dip down. And let's see if I can get this first time. Yes. That's the hardest part about this block, is it's not this point here, it's this point, right? So if you can see where the needles are. Now, you make sure that they're perpendicular, right? And then you put a pin like this here and there, just like that. So that's how you're going to sew this. Now it does make a curve, right? So you know, like, okay, where is my, okay, there we go. Now, there we go, and we just follow that line, and the pin loss fell out. Ah. Well, that's okay. There. So, let's get a new plug. Goodness knows I have a lot of scrap fabric. So now I pull this out of the way. Now I take the paper off right now here, because then it makes it a little easier to fold back. And I can take the paper off both sides. And all it is the paper in the seam allowance, right? That's all you're doing right now, is you're just removing that paper. And you can see how it comes out pretty easy. Because, I mean, by the time you finish with all the tiny, tiny stitching, I mean, it's pretty good. Now, some people have trimmed this to 1/8. I wouldn't recommend that if you're going to use it as a quilt. I would say to leave it at a 1/2 or a 1/4 inch, right? But, I mean, if it's going to be a wall hanging, oh yeah, you can definitely do 1/8. I mean, even Ricky Tim says it's 1/8 of an inch is good, but you know, if I'm giving it to a little one, like, I want them to be able to love it and wander around for it. Now, this is what goes in together next. So again, you want to get that point, and then it's the second point, or the second there. Oh wow, oops, I missed it just by hair. There we go. So that's the second point. And then you want to have the end. Oops. There's silk pins in here and everything else. So silk pins are fun to work with because they're just perfect. And I want it right there. Okay, perfect. Okay, now I want to make sure that stays flipped that way, because that's the path of least resistance for this. Now I am going to put a pin right here. I hope that it doesn't curve it too much and cause too much distortion, which is good. Okay, so here we go. And we put that in. There we go. Okay. And as we get closer to that pin at the other point, there. And now we have our, okay. So, and again, you just pull this back, you peel off this, and there you go. There's the peeling off this, you know, sometimes you need a tweezer, and that's okay if that's what you need. You know, you kind of, there's one piece in here that's kind of difficult to remove, but I mean, I haven't needed because it's right in here, but I haven't needed a tweezer to get after it. So now there's some people that they take all the inside parts out too, but I just leave it like this because I'm not quite sure where I'm going with this. So this will all press this way, right? Because there's lots of, you know, it's pushing the fabric that way, not this way is where the black is, right? So that's how you would press these. Okay, now this is what it looks like. Well, let's get this off here for just a sec. Now I'm going to show you what you can do with these. I have 6 already made up. Actually, it's the same pattern, so let's get this. So now what you can do is, of course, you can put all the black to the center and have your star with a little black point, right? Which is, you know, kind of cool. It looks kind of interesting. And everything lines up good, and, you know, it's a lot of fun to play with something like that. The other thing is you can take one yellow point and put that towards the center, right? Oh, this goes this way. Okay, this way. No, the other way. And this way. Now that creates a very different center, but I mean, you don't have as many black lines there, but it does still give you the illusion of stained glass, right? Even though the pipe, the glass, the dark is not there, you could, you know, you can actually put it in there if you really wanted to. But okay, just hear me out. Now the next one is, of course, this, and I really like this because you have that, you know, very unique little center, and everything just kind of comes together. So let's get to our big ta-da moment here. Okay, so this is our ta-da moment. Now, you only sew 3 of them together. Once you decide on which arrangement you like best, right? Because I mean, and the more different types of arrangements you have, the more eclectic and lovely the more complex it looks, but it's really not that hard. So you arrange them the way you like to arrange them, and then you would sew only 3 and 3, and then we can sew them together. We lay them out and we sew them together on rows. Now there is a black strip that would go on the outside edge once you've made that decision. I don't make a decision until I can lay out the entire quilt. So that's when I start sewing on my black edge. Now, I've had a few of you ask, what do you do with number 7, right? Because they figured out I make 6 as a sample, and then I have this one for you guys so that you can see how it's actually put together. Well, I decided I would make my orphan blocks like this useful. So what I would do with this is I would take a Tri-Rex ruler, and with this I would cut so that I could make, let's say, a 5.5 or whatever inch, you know, Tri-Rex square, right? A little pointy square. Now, if you put this up, this is 60 degrees. This is not, the ruler is not 60 degrees, right? So you play around with it, and I think it works out to 5.5 or something like that square that I make, and then I just put black sides on both sides, and now I have a little 5.5 inch square that I can throw into another quilt, which kind of makes it, you know, it's not sitting around going, well, I have no idea what I'm going to do with this. So to answer your question, that's what I do with these extra ones. So that's, and they look pretty cool too, because once they're done, they're not, you don't think of them as a snowflake, because you just think of them as a very elegantly pieced Tri-Rex square. So I hope that makes sense. So anyways, I hope you have a fabulous week ahead and everything's going your way in your sewing room, and you don't have to sit with your stitch ripper. So, I mean, I have it always handy, but I mean, you prefer not to use it, just be able to keep going. So until we see each other again, you guys take care, okay? Bye! My husband and I would love to thank you for watching our videos and being part of our Facebook group and coming to our Zoom meetings. It's been so much fun on this little adventure that we've been on YouTube. I just want to we are doing Zoom sew dates still coming up and those dates are going to be listed in the show notes of this video. For the next year, we're making that commitment to you, and we're having a lot of fun with those Zoom sew dates. So please, you know, feel free to come in. Even if you're not a quilter and you just want to come and do some crocheting or knitting or whatever, yeah, come on down. We're good. The other thing is I still am doing speaking engagements for the quilt gals just to help them out to get back on their feet. I am doing only Zoom meetings, and I have a PowerPoint presentation that talks about all the free patterns that we have put out and will be putting out to the world. So they're more than welcome to take any of my patterns and use them for their charity quilts, right? So that's kind of important that they know that we're there. So if you are part of a guild, let your programs person know that we're speaking for free over Zoom only. We're not doing any traveling or anything like that. The other thing that I want to let you know is that we do in our Facebook group, everybody's sharing pictures and having fun and asking questions, and it's a hoot. And we do still have the room feature in Facebook that we can go sew within. My admin person, Kathy, was able to set that up. It's no longer called Brenda's room, it's called Kathy's room, but we got a room. We do have a room working, so we're all happy with that. So if you get the opportunity to come join us on Facebook, that's great. We'd love to have you. So until we meet again, I hope you have you and your family have an absolutely amazing weeks ahead, okay? You take care. All right, bye.